All right, and we are live. Well, welcome, Tamara. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Nice,
Great.
beautiful day here. I'm in Everett, Washington, for those who are not aware. And I think you're up there just north in Vancouver, right?
Yeah, Vancouver, Canada. Also wonderful, wonderful weather. It's like early summer almost here.
Yeah, it's been really hot, surprisingly.
Yeah, yeah,
Enjoying the early summer. Hopefully it stays for some time.
yeah.
Well, really great to get this together and talk to you for a few minutes. I've done a couple of these before, talking to various people, and just really wanted to talk about network marketing, nutrition, and really open people's eyes and give them a view of what's out there. And for people who don't know, both you and I are working with a company called Isogenics. Actually, I'm wearing my shirt today.
Yeah.
And just a little backstory that for people who are not familiar with us, our families actually go back quite a ways. I was just showing Tamara. I've got, let's see if it shows up here. My book, Dr. Michael Colgan, Optimum Sports Nutrition. This is probably the first book I read on nutrition and really just inspired my passion for nutrition. But almost over 20 years ago, I think this was published.
Yeah, 1993,
Yep.
I believe. Yeah.
A good memory.
Yeah.
So obviously, Tamara is Dr. Colgan's youngest daughter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so obviously you have a very interesting background, and now being a physique competitor yourself, maybe you could fill people in a little bit about what was it like growing up? You know, was it easy being healthy, eating healthy? Did you struggle a bit? You know, what was it like with your father and growing up with a nutritionist?
I guess I'm really lucky in the sense that I always had the knowledge of what to eat healthy and how to be healthy. Did I always follow it like when I was a teenager and stuff? No. But I'm happy that when I decided, really made the decision for myself to get into good shape, I already had a lot of the knowledge and a lot of the tools to do so, which I think is definitely unique for a lot of people. I feel like there really is an issue just with the majority of people not knowing how to be healthy and what foods to eat and, what proportions to eat them in. There's just not enough knowledge in our education system that teaches us how to have the tools to live a healthy lifestyle. So I'm lucky that I kind of grew up with that. I didn't always follow it, but I do now. And I'm the healthiest that I've ever been actually now. So it's great.
Well, that's awesome. I think you bring up an interesting point just about education and, different macro ranges, what is healthy. And you probably know this too. I mean, there's so much information out there today, so many different opinions. I know for myself, I got started, reading your father's work. I think I've read almost every book he's written. And it seems like anytime there was a new idea or new something that came out, I always kind of went back to what your father taught, because it always seemed reasonable and it always seemed accurate. And, so often there's these, fad diets, or, we had the Atkins for a while, and then we've got paleo, and we've got, various different takes on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate that, even this book, Optimum Sports Nutrition, you go back 20 years. And it seems like a couple of years ago, I actually reread it and looked up some stuff. And the information inside of it was just as relevant today. I mean, nothing has really changed that much from back then. So, really those principles that he was teaching, and obviously knows, because he has a very in-depth knowledge of, nutrition with the biochemistry and everything, has been very helpful for my life. So obviously you and I have been involved with Isogenics for about the same period of time, about 5 years or so.
Yeah, 5 years this May. This month. 5 years this month.
Because I think your father actually joined Isogenics right before my family did. Maybe you could tell people what was it for him? Because obviously he has a huge knowledge on nutrition, and he could work with almost any company out there. What was it that made him want to look at Isogenics and subsequently you and your family?
He was actually out looking for another position another job, and he did get 3 offers. And he decided to go with Isogenics because of the quality of the product, first off. The people, like he went down and met with Jim and Kathy, and he could just really tell that they were genuine and they really cared. They didn't have to do this at all, and they created this company to give other people the chance to have a better life. And he really wanted to be a part of that. So he actually got an offer from one of the big pharma companies, and he, in the short term, would have made a lot more money with that company, but he decided to go with Isogenics because of the emphasis on integrity of the products, integrity of the compensation plan, and just the people, and the emphasis on family. So it was great. And since then my family hasn't really ever looked back. So
yeah, it's just amazing. I remember when our family was looking at Isogenics, obviously my father has been in various network marketing companies, and it always brings home, a new one. And this is going to be the new thing, or, this is going to be the new thing. And, as a family, we kind of, poo-pooed it, oh, this is just another one of those things. But when we found out that your father, who we had, researched, we were taking his supplements and reading his books for, 20 plus years, was on board with Isogenics, that was a huge testimonial for us. So it really gave us the idea to look into it and really see what was this about, what was so special, because there are so many different products out there. And maybe we could touch on this a little bit, because you now have competed, is it 2 competitions that you've done?
Yeah.
And obviously they're natural competitions, so no drugs of any kind.
No.
But, yeah. And even that's debatable, though. When you get into some of these natural competitions, I was thinking that they were really that natural, that many competitors were looking for the highest quality products, ones that didn't have the chemicals in them. But that's not the case. What have you found in your experience being a competitor and some of the products out there?
I think one of the things that really plagues this industry is just with the competitive bodybuilding is, people are always looking for short-term results. Mm-hmm. They're willing to put, not even, illegal substances, although a lot of people are willing to do that, but they're willing to, use, products that have synthetic caffeine, or, there's a lot of protein spiking in the industry. They're willing to use a product that is going to have less quality to get a quicker result, regardless of the side effects. People really don't look at this industry in the long term, unfortunately. They kind of have that one-minded goal. Look at the example of the bulking, this whole dirty bulking thing. What makes you think that eating a pizza, and gaining 10 pounds over 3 months is going to make you put on more muscle? No. That's something that was debunked by my father in the 80s, yet it still plagues the industry. Everyone's like, oh, it's my off season. It's like, no, there is no off season. That's not that, gaining and losing 10 pounds over and over and over again for each show, that's not sustainable in the long term. That's so bad for you. Mm-hmm. It's easier to use good quality products and eat clean majority of the year. Mm-hmm. It's way easier to maintain that than, doing dirty bulking or using a bunch of bad products right up to the show to just make it so that you get that little bit more, rather than looking at it in terms of 28-week segments, which is a full muscle cell turnover. You can't force your body to be any faster if you want to do it the quality way. Mm-hmm. So it's better to use quality ingredients in the long term. But a lot of people in the bodybuilding and physique world are very, very short-sighted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very driven for that end goal. They want to get better. They want to win their competition. So whatever it takes to get them there, they're willing
Exactly.
to. And I think you brought up a good point. I read an article from your father really talking about nutrition. And when you give your body the proper nutrients, like the proper protein or the proper vitamins and minerals, you do have to wait for that cell turnover for the cells to be rebuilt with the new quality materials. So,
exactly.
like muscle cells, I think he said 6 months it takes for, the
It's
protein.
28 weeks. Yeah.
28 weeks.
28 weeks for a muscle cell turnover. And then if you're talking like neurons, like brain cells, it's almost a full year.
Yeah.
So.
And that's very short-sighted. People just don't even see that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you brought up an interesting point about, the different foods people are eating. I see a lot of this, the term, if it fits your macros. Have you heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Where, it doesn't matter if your carbs come from gummy worms or if your protein comes from hot dogs, as long as it fits your macros, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, that's definitely debatable. I mean, if you're getting your protein from hot dogs, that's like junk protein. I mean, you're going to have hot dog bicep. Wouldn't you rather like a whey protein bicep? Because I would. It's definitely not all nutrients are created equal. And the big one that throws people off is not all calories are created equal. Maybe that fits in your 1,400 calorie range, but if your calories are coming from chocolate, as opposed to like a grapefruit and, some oats or some organic like rolled oats and raspberries, it's definitely not the same. It might have the same amount of grams of carbohydrate, but it doesn't have the same things to fuel your body in the proper way. If you eat junk protein, your muscles are going to be made of junk protein.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that just for a minute, because that's actually one of the things your dad's well known for is protein. And, especially in bodybuilding and physique, protein, there's a big emphasis on eating enough protein, but not really an emphasis on quality protein. And that's one of the things that Isogenics has really done a fantastic job with, is providing highest quality protein one could take. What's your take on that from, a physique competitor's standpoint and what that does for your body?
Well, I mean, the quality of the protein comes down to the amino acids within the protein. I mean, what do you mean exactly that you're asking me?
Well, I guess we could back up just a little bit. For those that don't know much about Isogenics, the protein, we use a whey protein, and the whey protein is obviously sourced from New Zealand. In New Zealand, all the cows are grass-fed. They're free range. They're never treated with hormones, antibiotics. And so that's a very different way than, a lot of the ways we see promoted to bodybuilders, physique competitors. Typically your grain-fed cows, the animals are confined feeding operations. But then on top of that, we get into the whole denatured versus undenatured aspect with the subfractions and growth factors. So obviously, that makes a big difference. I think people are becoming more aware these days about the food they eat. So often I hear people, they're opting for the grass-fed beef. They're looking for the wild salmon, the better meats. But then when they go to their supplements, they're getting the cheap supplements that are, from these cows that are grain-fed. They're locked up in pens. They're hormones and antibiotics. And then the whey is extracted from the milk is just horrible. And there seems to be a disconnection, right, between whole foods they're eating and then their supplementation. And people realize, obviously, the two need to. Why go for the wild salmon and your cheap whey?
Yeah, there definitely is a disconnection, especially in the bodybuilding world, because of the amount that these people need to consume. A lot of the time, it will come down to cost. Like if the average bodybuilder, let's say he's 200 pounds, he's eating 200 grams of protein as a minimum a day, that's 4 protein shakes. So definitely in the industry, especially because it's very competitive, or it's very expensive to compete.
Absolutely.
They'll choose the cheaper product because I don't think they really understand that way is less quality than this way over here. There definitely is a disconnect between like farm salmon, wild salmon, and hot process whey versus cold process whey. And someone will be like, I'm entirely organic, and then they'll go to Costco and buy their protein in like a huge tub, which is a whole nother can of worms. If you get a huge tub of this stuff, by the time it's been open for 2 weeks, the quality of the protein has degraded because it's oxidized.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's all like people definitely haven't picked up on or don't understand the difference between quality and price when it comes to supplementation.
Mm-hmm. And I think you and I were talking before too, and you even mentioned it in your segment a few minutes ago, that the higher quality, what we notice in the higher quality supplements is, a lot of longevity. And I've seen that a lot with some of the physique competitors using isogenics, that we get tremendous results a lot of times with the older competitors, the ones in the masters division. And I think a lot of that comes down to when people are younger, sometimes their body can deal with the cheaper, crummy food to an extent. But obviously when you age, your body starts wearing down and it can't use the proteins, it can't use some of the vitamins and minerals as efficiently. So you have to use a better quality material or product to get better results. And I think that may be why the isogenics is such a great tool for those, especially as they age. They're starting to see a bigger difference with it. Where yes, younger people will see a difference, but that difference gets greater and greater as they age.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think we definitely are more efficient at just processing out all the bad stuff when we're younger. And I think that's why people, they still kind of have this thought that their longevity isn't really a thought. It's not in the forefront. When they're under 35, they're like, I'm going to take this thing in the short term. It'll be fine. It's not going to impact me when I'm older. Whereas older people, they can't afford to, that is on their mind, longevity and quality. Of course it's there. And that's one thing I'm lucky about. I've always put my longevity first. Even competing, I don't do anything that is detrimental to my long-term health ever. And I think that it's terrible that it plagues the bodybuilding world, because people are looking at bodybuilders and at, physique and fitness models as role models, and it's like really in the behind the scenes, the majority of these people are not doing things that are healthy. Like, yeah, they look a certain way, but then aesthetic and actual health is two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my motivations why I compete and why I do it 100% naturally and with the use of isogenics products, is because I want to demonstrate to people, well, it may take me a little bit longer, it might take me more muscle cell turnovers, but you're going to see me in 50 years and I'm going to look just as good as I look now, maybe a little more lined on the face, but fingers crossed anyways. But I just know that these products are something that I can use for life. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to have to compromise my longevity for a plastic trophy.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just real quickly on the products themselves, what are some of the products, because isogenics uses a number of different products for different results. What are some of your favorite products that you use maybe on a daily basis, or maybe just when you're competing? What helps you get that edge that maybe people aren't familiar with, or it's not commonplace in bodybuilding or physique?
That's not commonplace. Definitely the Ageless Essentials with Product B, the Iso Omega. I take a lot of Iso Omega, and I use the brain and sleep support. That's one thing that's definitely not emphasized in the bodybuilding world right now, is sleep and recovery. There's a few people that get it. The top people definitely get it. But, like I train with girls that are like, oh, I only had 4 hours sleep, but I had to go to the gym. I'm like, probably would have been better for you to have some sleep, because that's when you recover and that's when your muscles actually, rebuild and get to the next stage. So the brain and sleep support for sure. If I've had a hard workout, I take the sleep spray and, I might sleep 14 hours, but I know that I've recovered, there is the other products as well that generally bodybuilders will use, like the BCAAs and the creatine monohydrate. One of the newer products that Isogenics has, the NOx, which is a nitric oxide product. I love that product, and it's definitely not commonplace yet. So the new studies that are coming out, definitely, a lot of the big pharmaceutical and bodybuilding companies will come out with a product like that. Whether it would be the same quality as Isagenix, I couldn't tell you. But it's definitely one of the newer ones that you won't see very often. And it is sort of coming to the forefront now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems to be, it's been around for a little while in different avenues, like endurance athletes I've seen, triathletes, they swear by beef. They love that stuff. But
Yeah.
you're right, when it comes to the bodybuilding world, they've never heard of it.
Yeah, they don't use it at all.
They're used for, vasodilators and their stimulants and, all that stuff. But yeah, I've had tremendous results using that product. I mean, quite amazing where, a lot of these products where they do kind of dilate your blood vessels, the arginine, we have a good pre-workout that does that.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more short term. It lasts for maybe a couple hours. Where like the Nox with the beetroot, you get a full 24-hour window where, it really helps dilate the blood vessels and helps with the oxygenation, the recovery. It's just tremendous. So yeah, I think that would be a very interesting one to see how the physique world adopts to that and see if they really take on.
Yeah. I mean, I use it. So maybe it'll give me an edge before they all discover it.
Absolutely. But maybe we could touch on a little bit too. You brought up a little while back how it can be quite expensive to be a physique competitor. And since Isagenix is a network marketing company, it does offer a vehicle for people to make an extra part-time income or maybe a full-time income if they really want to pursue it. But yet there is a bit of a stigma associated with network marketing. What have you seen or what's your experience been within the fitness world? And why would somebody in the fitness, maybe a personal trainer, somebody competing, might want to rethink about network marketing as a way to maybe help them through their goal to help support them financially, at least pay for some of their supplements or an extra part-time income, or even somebody who's a personal trainer who's training people in physique, to be able to help their clients out with a higher quality product than what a lot of them are using.
Yeah, I mean, the income opportunity for me, it definitely helps. I'm really happy when Isagenix launched the AMP line because I was able to get, more of my products basically paid for. And Isagenix actually pays you on the volume that you buy as well. So that's been really helpful for me personally. I think that trainers should definitely see it as a great supplement to their training. A lot of times people will come in and pay personal trainers 1 hour a day, but then the other 24 hours a day they don't do anything about nutrition. And then they get frustrated that they're not seeing the results, and that trainer might lose that client. But if you can couple a nutrition program along with the personal training, then you really give them the opportunity to do well. Mm-hmm. And with good quality products like Isagenix, that you never have to, worry about what's going into them. You can recommend them with 100% certainty that they are the best quality that you can get. And if your client, they can either buy it from you retail or they can sign up wholesale and get a discount. So they are really, really cost-effective products. And if you do choose to share them with a few friends, then you can get some of them paid for, which, a lot of the supplement companies or health food stores that you go into, there might be like a loyalty program where you get like 1 bucket free after 10, but, definitely not the same to the same extent as Isagenix. I think it's not really so much about network marketing. It's about you can get great nutrition for a fraction of the cost of the competitor. And I mean, it really helps me. Obviously, I do Isagenix full time now, and I have the time freedom, and I have a lot of my supplements paid for, which is great. Mm-hmm. So it really does help me. It enables me to train because I do have the time flexibility to get to the gym, but I also have the great products that support my training.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would imagine too, as a physique competitor, as people see your body and see your progress, they're always asking, what are you doing? What are you taking? And then, a lot of people, they might have a favorite supplement, maybe even a personal trainer, and they send them off to the local supplement store, or they send them, somewhere online.
Yeah.
It's like, really? They're asking for an opinion, and you're sending them somewhere for someone else to make a profit.
Yeah.
How cool would it be if they asked you, what are you using? Oh, I'm using Isogenics. It's a really good quality product. And oh, by the way, if you want it, you can get a good price on it, and you can help support me in my endeavors. And it's just interesting to see how a lot of personal trainers have a little bit of a disconnect, or people in fitness, that they struggle financially. It's an expensive sport. It is time consuming.
Yeah.
That they have a struggle in recommending products to people who are asking. And really, it's a very natural process for a lot of them. What about the topic of, a lot of people think they can do bodybuilding, physique competitor, just eating whole foods or getting all their nutrients from, the food they eat. And they're a little hesitant to incorporate maybe like a protein shake or some of these other supplements. Any thoughts there on why they might want to consider, a protein shake?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not supplementing your diet, like depending on your size, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. Like, I take my protein shakes and I take, BCAAs just to make sure that I get the right combination of amino acids to build muscle. Like I would have to eat a lot of broccoli, like a lot. I'd be sitting here, I already eat a lot. So at least when I get my shake, I know that I'm getting everything that I need. I'm getting 36 grams of protein, and it's done and it's quick. Like so it's a lot of convenience. I can't eat like 10 chicken breasts a day. That's a lot. It's a lot of chewing. Like it's just for the convenience ways, it's and you just know that it's good quality and you can just put it in and go, like I'll either have 2 shakes a day, and I use the IsoPro, which is just the whey, or just the protein basically. Just so the IsoLean Pro is a full meal replacement, and when I'm 12 weeks or more out from a show, I use the IsoLean Pro daily. But if I'm closer, I'll do my own carbohydrate. Like I'll do like a green vegetable and then an IsoPro instead. But I'll do that, 1 to 2 times a day, and then I'll have 4 other meals. So like that's a lot of cooking and a lot of eating. And I do all of my meal prep myself. There are services that you can pay that will do it, but then that's an extra expense as well. So it's just really time convenient, and I know that I don't have to worry about the amino acid profile in the protein that I'm eating. I eat 4 different proteins, I vary them, and then I have my shakes. So that's actually 5 different proteins a day. So I know that like I have my bases covered when it comes to building muscle.
Well, that's such a great point. It's just the convenience factor of, because there is so much food to eat, so much to prep, to have just a couple of those shakes handy in between your meals, so that you don't have to do so much prep. And they're actually so cost effective. Here in the US, the shakes run from a little under $3 to a little under $4 for an organic meal that has either 24 or 36 grams of protein. That's pretty hard to do even with whole food for that price, if you're buying that kind of high quality ingredients. And I don't know about a lot of physique competitors, but for those who travel, I know that offers another level of complexity with their meal planning. But some people that will prep all 5-6 meals a day for a week or 2 weeks, freeze them, and try to travel with them, only to have maybe the refrigerator fail, or if you try to go out of the country, you can't bring fresh anything. And so really having these shakes can be very effective for staying on track.
It's awesome.
I mean, you just can't go to a restaurant and try to find your macros or get those healthy foods.
No.
Drive around trying to source all the stuff in a crazy town you're not familiar with. So just really awesome.
It's very time and cost effective. Yeah. And they even let you bring them into Australia, which is one of the hardest countries to get things into. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I brought a bunch with me into Australia, and I said I had protein powder, and they let me through. I was like, oh, they're going to get me, but it's
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yeah.
I was talking to Danny Catania, and she was bringing to my attention that, like you mentioned, the sleep spray,
Yeah.
that is a prescription drug in
Yeah,
Australia.
it is.
So I don't know how they would, if they found that in your bag, but
Yeah.
you can bring stuff in.
But protein they'll let you bring in. So you can definitely take it anywhere. Like I take it into the States. Like I'm based in Canada. I take it into the States. I've taken it down to a lot of places in the Caribbean, into Australia, into Europe. You know, I never had a problem with customs. So, you know, that's another thing to remember. I mean, the Arnold is coming up in South Africa. So, I mean, I've never tried to take it in there, but protein in individual packets generally. And if you have it, like I know a lot of athletes that use a Ziploc bag and they like scoop it in, but they'll take that for sure.
Really?
Depending on where you're going, they'll take, like I've had a lot of friends that have had the because it's, you know, white powder in a Ziploc bag, like they take it away. Yeah, it looks bad, but I mean the Isoline Pro comes in, and the Isoline Shake, they come in the packets.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and it has all the ingredients on it. So even if the customs is like really, really strict, they can read right what's on it in the package. So it definitely is a great option for a lot of competitors, athletes, anyone who travels a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. I think I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're just about out of time here, but as we kind of wrap this up, anything else you want to kind of bring up or close with in terms of, you know, isogenics and those who might be thinking about competing or want to compete as long as possible?
Yeah, isogenics is a great system that you can use, you know, from the time that you're 18 years old to as long as you want to keep going, you know. My father uses it. He's 77 years old, and I use it, and I'm 25 years old. So it definitely is a great option for everyone. And whether it's top performance that you're interested in, or, you know, bodybuilding, you know, or just a healthier lifestyle and a healthier option, it really can fit into your lifestyle for sure.
Yeah, and I just love the fact that, you know, it's such a high quality product. A lot of people don't know that Isogenics doesn't do paid endorsements for athletes. And yet we have a number, even your father's worked with some Olympians,
Yeah.
professional athletes, and they don't get this product for free. They
Yeah.
have to buy the product just like you and I do. Now,
Yeah.
they could create a business like you and I are creating, but they have to do that themselves. It's
Oh yeah.
not, you know, they're not paid like, you know, a lot of these other companies out there do paid endorsements. And
Yeah.
maybe they use the product, maybe they get good results, but they're getting paid to say they use it. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
nice. We have that integrity within Isogenics. When you do see somebody like an Olympian using this product, it's high quality and they're using it because, you know, it works and there's no,
Yeah.
you know, back end endorsement there.
No, not at all, which is, it's nice to know.
Well, very cool. Well, I appreciate your time, Tamara.
Yeah, no worries.
We can do this again sometime. I know there's a lot of different topics we can explore.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But hopefully, you know, those who have, you know, a little stigma about network marketing or about using supplements, you know, maybe we'll just throw a few things out there to think about. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to, you know, either myself or Tamara. I'm happy to help answer any questions, or, you know, if you're curious about the Isogenics products, you know, we're just here to help. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and we'll talk soon.